How does a grocery delivery at 8:17 a.m. hide $8 million in meth? In Texas, agents opened a refrigerated trailer and found 100 kilograms sealed inside a hydraulic compartment under perishable food. That single stop exposed Atlas National Logistics, a company delivering to Walmart and Costco, as the backbone of a multi-state trafficking network. But here's the twist. The driver looked calm, even cooperative, and may not have known a thing. So how did a Fortune 500-style operation turn everyday freight into a smuggling web? And how did those compartments beat dogs and x-rays? Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. That 8:17 a.m. drop looked like every other chilled delivery, but agents closed in like the trailer might blow because the timing and the paperwork lined up a little too clean. The reefer hummed at a steady set point, frost rime on the door seal, pallets of leafy greens strapped tight, and a manifest that matched the pick tickets down to the lot codes. The route traced a straight shot to a big box distribution center with a dock time that's hard to move, and a vendor badge that usually greases the gate. On the surface, it checked out. Underneath, it scratched every itch the task force had learned to trust. The driver played it cool. License, logs, medcard, ready. He answered without hedging, knew the shipper's address, could recite the bill of lading, even mentioned the receiver's name at door 46. He believed he carried produce and ice packs, nothing more. Yet the scale slip from the pre-pass lane showed a strange wobble. Axles were within tolerance, but the weight skewed forward by a few hundred pounds compared to the declared load and reefer unit size. Not wild, not screaming, just off enough to slow everybody down. Then came the timing snag. The truck pinged GPS at a rest area 14 minutes off its approved corridor in the pre-dawn window. Dispatch chalked it up to facility congestion in a status note that hit inboxes after midnight. And there was a note on last week's roadside inspection, waved after a late-night email from a compliance alias that never writes after hours. None of this breaks a law. Together, it stacks. Commercial interdiction runs on a decision tree. Safety stops look for hours of service and equipment defects first. Contraband screenings need probable cause or consent, so agents triage for anomalies. Inconsistent axle distribution, route deviations, and document behavior. If the matrix tilts, they escalate. Dogs go first when conditions allow, because a trained nose can knock down thresholds fast. If the environment is hostile to odor, they pivot to imaging. With reefers, they split the lane. Canine on the doors and vents. Mobile X-ray for density mapping, and temperature checks at the floor and bulkhead. They look for density spikes, heat signatures, and patterns that don't match broccoli, lettuce, or citrus. Here's where it got weird. The canine showed interest, then backed off, tail low, like the scent got washed. The X-ray returned a consistent block, no clean voids, reading like dense produce from front to back. Thermal wands showed a cold, even deck. Nothing screamed, but nothing sat right. The floor held the answer. Engineers had built a hydraulic cold deck, an inner platform that could raise, lock, and seal under the pallet layer. When it dropped, it created a vacuumed cavity. Glycol-cooled panels along the false deck bled chilled air that followed the normal cold chain currents, down the bulkhead, along the floor, up the rear, and out the return. That loop masks micro hotspots. Odor molecules ride airflow. In a sealed, actively cooled plenum, they dilute and vent where dogs can't source. On a quick thermal pass, the whole box reads like produce. Technicians push the X-ray again, adjusting energy and angle, but dense greens and ice packs still mimicked a solid mass. The image lacked the crisp void edges they expect from crude compartments, so they switched tools. A bore scope through a rivet line at the lower rail meant nothing but empty space. No insulation, no decking, just vacuum. That was the break. They peeled the pallet layer, unlocked the hydraulic pins, and lifted the false deck. Inside sat bricks packed with desiccants, shock pads, and moisture barriers. 100 kilograms, meth valued at $8 million, lined tight so nothing rattled, wrapped to survive vibration, cold, and condensation. The driver stared, silent, as techs logged samples and sealed the rest. If a single unit can hide a lab's monthly run under lettuce, what does the rest of the fleet carry when the doors close before dawn? How does a company that drops at Walmart and Costco move tons of meth and fentanyl without setting off alarms? By looking cleaner than everyone else. Atlas National Logistics wore the uniform of a model carrier, more than 150 tractors on the road, vendor badges that opened guarded gates, and compliance files that read like training manuals. The drivers had neat logs and safe CSA scores. The shops kept maintenance tight, insurance binders, DOT numbers, and safety audits all lined up. On paper, Atlas fit the profile buyers want on their docks. Investigators didn't start with a smoking gun. They started with spreadsheets and patterns, a few call logs tied dispatch phones to permit offices during odd hours. Road use permits got approved faster on certain corridors. A handful of zoning changes landed right before Atlas leased new cross docks. None of it screamed crime. Each piece looked like routine operations work. But when teams layered it against route histories, a rhythm showed up. Permits cleared the same week certain reefers took high-priority runs, and local approvals synced with late-night equipment swaps. Here's where things got really interesting. Atlas treated contraband like high-value freight. About 100 trucks carried custom cold decks like the one in the stop, but with tighter seals, baffled vents, and materials that scatter X-ray energy. The fleet mapped these units to lanes with fewer random checks and routed them through scales with high bypass rates. Dispatch used the same playbook used for plasma shipments. Fixed ETAs, redundant check calls, and pre-cleared gate lists so dock guards waved them through. The hardware didn't look homemade. It looked engineered. Flush welds, OEM, matched rivets, and electrical harnesses tucked in factory channels. The paperwork kept the illusion strong. Manifests blended low-margin produce with dense, legitimate items that read heavy and even on scans: bagged ice, beverage syrup, and boxed dairy. Warehouse shifts staggered so drivers never saw full staging. Loads arrived, built, shrink-wrapped, and tagged. Backhauls were real too, returns and recyclables that explain round trips and mileage. The lines blurred because each step matched standard logistics play. Researchers call some of this soft shielding, not bribes, not hacks, just friction turned in their favor. Inspections slipped a day because someone sent an urgent dock schedule. A city permit got expedited after a lost paperwork email. Compliance replies landed minutes before a roadside check, which nudged troopers to clear them faster. Communications timed to the workflow, right as supervisors changed shifts or when scale houses got slammed. None of it illegal on its own. Together it shaped when and how scrutiny happened. One driver became the hinge. He trained on strict SOPs, no loitering at the yard, no photos at loading, no unscheduled fuel stops. He got punctuality bonuses and extra per-mile pay during produce season. He never touched pallets or watched the floor drop. After the stop, he flipped from confused to cooperative. He shared dispatch scripts, code words for cold priority, and the times he was told to run a certain rest area even when his hours allowed him to push on.